Hi guys, it's Fabien CROS. I'm super happy and excited to give you a very small course about pricing and to share with you my framework about pricing that I've developed for the past 10 years. Just to give you a little bit of context, I spent the past 8 years working in consulting. And more specifically, I used to work for Accenture. I worked there for more than 7 years in the US, in Detroit. And that's how I developed all this knowledge about pricing. I'm working as a consulting director for Artefact, which is now a big startup in Paris specialized in consulting around digital. So as you can see, pricing is super important for two reasons. The first one, keep in mind that prices is the first or the last thing that your customer will see. So it's extremely important to have, if it's the first thing, a very good impression, first impression. And if it's the last one, you want to make sure is, if it's the last one, they will buy your product or service. Number two, it's really about margin. When you think about margin, a 1% price increase means an 11 to 18% margin increase. So can you imagine this impact on your bottom line? What that means is if you have a good pricing strategy, it means your business will be healthy and you will be able to expand your business, to invest in developing your business, and you will have enough time to focus on your business. If you have a bad pricing strategy, it means you will struggle, you won't have time to expand, you won't have money to invest. So I strongly recommend that you spend enough time studying your pricing because according to me, pricing is a key of your success as a business owner and entrepreneurs. So good luck and let's look at the details now. All right, so let's look at our pricing reversed umbrella framework. For many of you, pricing has been extremely difficult for several reasons. The first one is pricing is a complex and very time-consuming topic. Of course, as a business owner or startupper, you have thousands of other topics to master to grow your business, of course. The second point is there is a lack of expertise on this topic. The digital transformation of our economy completely transformed how pricing needs to be done today. And then third point, pricing are so sensitive that most of you prefer not to take the risk to change anything. And they prefer to charge very low prices because they think it's safe. That's a huge mistake. During the handle phase, you need to cover all the costs you have to make your business live, such as marketing costs, rent, salaries. For example, on this website, they give you a list of a bunch of different costs and expenses. You have the labor expenses, the sales expenses, the rent, the travel expenses, the advertising, production, insurance, utilities, etc., etc. What's very important in this phase is a lot of companies are forgetting about the after sales. Of course, you are selling a product or a service, and then after that, you really think you have no more expenses and no more cost. That's a big mistake. You need to forecast some costs because you have to take care of your clients after that. You have to answer questions, and maybe you need to support some of your clients to set up your software, for example. Another big mistake is when companies are not looking at their expansion, so a new line of business, a new product. You need to add that into your costs because if you don't, at the end of the year, you will have no time and no money to continue to expand your business. So that's kind of phase one of the cost plus, because at this time you just have the cost, you don't have the plus yet. The plus is when you need to add a premium to define your margin. So you're adding like a 20, 30, 50% on top of your costs. So cost plus, as you can see, is very basic. That's really where you are when you have no clue how to price a product. You just take your cost, you add a premium to make sure that you will make extra money. And that's only if you do the cost plus approach right. But usually you know that you will make some money at the end of the year. Then you move to the next phase, which is a benchmarking phase. It means During the benchmarking phase, you look and see what your competitors are charging for similar products and services. Most of you are doing some key mistakes, and usually they do those two mistakes. The first one, they collect only the prices and not the full picture. They don't collect commercial conditions, discounts, return policies, scope of work, location, customer satisfaction. And two, they usually do this exercise only when they start the business and they never update it. So that's a big problem. What I would recommend is to run some level of benchmarking every 6 months to understand price trends and identify new entrants. The goal of this phase is to compare your company with your competition, but it is also designed for you to become smarter about your market and on what your clients may experience outside of your business. So let me take a very concrete example. So let's say you go to Airbnb. I picked Detroit as an example because I love these cities. I lived there for more than 6 years. A basic mistake in the benchmarking phase is to just look at the price per night. So you see 33 euros per night, 73, 89, 32. So let's use, for example, this one. You may think, okay, I'm just starting an Airbnb business and I'm in the same neighborhood close to Hamtramck, 73 euros, it's a 2-guest studio, 2 beds. Okay, I will use the same price. So the big mistake is to use 73 euros per night. Instead, what you have to capture is first what kind of business it is, superhost. So there is definitely a premium when you're a superhost because people will trust you more. Cancellation flexibility, it's a big one because people will value this flexibility. So you have to charge more for that or less if you don't have it. So now let's go to the perceived value phase. So at this step, you have all the information about your market, your competitors, and your costs. What you are missing though, and what makes the difference between the pricing literate and the others, is the awareness of the perceived value. Let's take a very concrete example. If you go on apple.com, that's what we want to look at. If you want to order the new iPhone 11, the price for the 64 Geo is, you can see here, $679. The price for 256 gigs is $829. However, when you ask any engineer the price to create a 64 gigs or 26 gigs capacity chip, they will say it's a couple of euros. However, you can see clearly there is a huge price difference between the two. That's exactly what we call perceived value. Because if you look at any iPhone customer, they will value way more the fact that they can have extra space, they can store additional videos, more pictures, so they are ready to pay way more than just the cost plus aspect or the benchmarking aspects. Now they value the product, so they can charge more. So that's a huge difference. So that's what we call perceived value, the strategy to price products and services based on the perception of your customers, not based on facts and science. This step is crucial because it obliges you to quit your business owner mindset and adopt a customer mindset, or at least question your customers on the perception. This is usually eye-opening, as most of the people have a ton of perception. Of course, I mean, think as a customer, you have a ton of perception. You think this is complicated, and it's not. All right. So now let's go at the top of the umbrella. So as you can see, you have 4 axes. You have description, purpose, scarcity, uniqueness. At this point, I would say congratulations. You are already more advanced than probably 97% of the businesses in the world. So don't stop here, as it's getting even more exciting after that. If you want to improve your prices, now that you have priced your business with a perceived value methodology, you need to adopt a matrix approach, capturing value on multiple axes. As you can see, we have 4 here. So if we start with the description, the way you are explaining your products is a key lever to improve your pricing. What if you say, those socks are made in China, in a factory I have never visited? You don't want to buy, right? Now let's say I personally inspect all my suppliers by visiting them at least once a year. For example, those socks are made in Suzhou, China, the tipping point of the Silk Road. The factory there is so advanced that last year when I was there, I met the chief designer of Kenzo, as he was also a customer of this factory. You cannot find a better quality sock in this whole world. What about pricing now? The way you present your products and services is a simple way to significantly improve your pricing. I strongly recommend that you go on Amazon, for example, and you will see very good description, product description, and you will see what makes a great product description and a bad one. Now look at purpose. In its 2020 report, Accenture names the many faces of growth, the number one trend. It means companies are finally looking at other aspects of growth than just profits. Do you know why? Because clients are asking for it. So what does it mean for pricing? It means that a client will be ready to pay more if you are capable to align the purpose of your business with his or her own. Let's say you are selling socks. If you are capable to explain that your purpose is to sell only eco-friendly products from supplier certified no child labor, chances are customer will be ready to pay more as they share your purpose. This is kind of a new type of pricing, but for me, it will transform the entire pricing industry for the next decades. So, for example, let's look at Shinola. I don't know if you know this brand. I strongly recommend that you go. It's a brand from Detroit. And their big thing is they are bringing back jobs in the US. So all those different products, mostly watches, are made in Detroit by US-based employees. So you can see, I mean, this is like basic watches, but they are close to $500-600. And you know why? You probably can find similar product for $300-400 maybe. Yeah, manufactured in China. But people are ready to pay $100-200 more because they know that everything coming from Shinola is probably made in Detroit, or for the most part made in Detroit. That's exactly what I'm talking about. It's this pricing methodology. So we talked about description, okay? We talked about purpose. You have thousands of examples. I mean, if you are based in France, you have a company called Slip Français, which is a company selling only made in France products. And to be frank, they probably charge a 20-50% premium on everything. And you know what? The best part about that is this company is working extremely well because for the client, this company has a clear purpose and it's aligned with their clients and people are ready to pay for that. Now, scarcity. As we all know, humans want what they cannot have. So everything scarce will ignite in our brain an immense need. If you study human brains, it's a relic from our what we call croc reptilian brain. In business, this is the same. Let's assume again you have a socks shop. You put a pair of socks in a stand and mark only 20 pairs in the world, made from a unique type of sheep in Pakistan. How much do you think your customers are going to pay for those? More than usual, right? It's a clear example that using this framework should give you some good ideas on how to progress in pricing. If we can do it in a sock shops, can you imagine what else we can do? So again, scarcity is a very good one. What I wanted to show you guys is some example here on Amazon of scarcity. You can really see here, only 6 left in stock, order soon. That's a perfect example to either increase your pricing or increase the demand, play with scarcity. Again, be careful, because on pricing, you can always play on two axes, on the price or on the quantity. So if you want to increase your quantity, you may play with the same framework and increase how much product or services you are selling. But keep in mind that if you want to increase your margin, you can probably stay at the same quantities but increase your prices. That way you increase your margin. Let's talk about uniqueness. Very often, you are confused between the scarcity and the uniqueness in the methodology. This is actually very simple. Rubies are scarce, but you can buy them in any jewelry store. However, The Sri Lanka rubies are scarce, but only distributed in 15 jewelry shops in the world. That's uniqueness. But let's use a restaurant. You can have a 50 tables restaurant and decide to create space with 5 tables only, marked with a red ribbon. That's now a VIP space, and you need to pay an extra $20 to access it. You just created uniqueness in a very simple environment. This VIP treatment could be a special treatment from the chef, free goodies based on the kitchen mood, new type of stuff, or very special menus, etc., etc. Regardless of the format, uniqueness is the last dimension of our pricing framework for the end of the umbrella. So just to summarize here, we did the cost plus, so we looked at all the cost of your companies, we compared that with your competitors, with the market, with, be careful, competitors, but also other players that are addressing your customers. Sometimes it's not direct competitors, but you need to look at other industries to see what your customers are experiencing. Then you have the perceived value. Again, the iPhone example, very clear. That's the completely different mindset from cost plus benchmarking to perceived value. Now you are looking at your customer to see how they value and what kind of value it will bring them. And then you have the last one, which is more like a matrix type of pricing, where you're using description. So again, it's a storytelling about your product, your purpose, like, okay, why do you have this business? What do you believe in? The scarcity, I mean, again, like, look at that, like, you are the unique, I don't know, like, computer store in town. Maybe that's a scarcity thing. And then uniqueness. Maybe you are the only one distributing this unique type of computer. So again, you can play. What's interesting with this framework, you can clearly see you can play with only one single axis. For example, you can play just with description, or you can play with the 4 of them. Of course, see that as a wider thing. I mean, you can just kind of level and increase here, but really where you will find a lot of value in terms of pricing, it's when you create value on all of them, on the 4 axes. And then, of course, you have the last part, the value sharing pricing. So this one, it's for very advanced pricing strategist or very mature company for pricing. That's when you say, you know what, I know my company is bringing you a lot of value. I'm ready actually to index my pricing on the value I'm creating. You need to be careful because it's a very different type of pricing. You need to be extremely cautious on how you do it, how you track the results. So I would not recommend to do that like, when you just start your business, but it's good to consider when you went through, the cost plus, the benchmarking, the perceived value, that you made significant progress on those 4 axes, and you are like, okay, how can I increase even more my pricing, and how can I increase my margins? That would be the perfect way to use value sharing pricing. All right, so I hope you like this very small course. I strongly recommend that you spend enough time on pricing. Again, as I said at the beginning of this course, a 1% price increase means 11 to 18% on your profit margin. So that's why it's extremely important that your pricing strategy is perfect. And of course, it won't be perfect at the beginning, but you need to constantly expand, continue to work on, focus on your pricing, and continue to make your pricing strategy even better day after day. The biggest mistake is to think that you do the pricing once and then you forget about it. That's how you go direct to bankruptcy. So again, keep up the good work and good luck.